Welcome back, folks. Most people think joining the military is just about adventure, a steady paycheck, or maybe collecting wild stories for future grandkids. But the real challenge? Taking off the uniform and jumping back into the civilian ring. Would you agree, Sam?
Absolutely. That post-service transition is like skydiving with a half-pack parachute thurling. But you better hope you've got the right prep. Today, we're diving deep into which military branch actually sets you up best for civilian success. Buckle up!
And don't worry, listeners, we're not here to bash any branch we're arming you with facts from over 50 top studies. So, let's get the ball rolling and see who's got the edge when the camo comes off.
Right on. Plus, we'll break things down by education, job alignment, and even post-service hardship. Spoiler, the results might surprise you, especially if you thought it was all about being the few, the proud.
Let's kick things off with education, since everyone hears about those sweet tuition assistance benefits. But as it turns out, not all branches play by the same rulebook. Sam, what's the real story?
Well, every branch technically offers tuition assistance, but actual usage is a different beast. For instance, the Marines let you tap into it pretty early after training if your supervisor's cool with it. Yet, only 1.1% of junior Marines have an associate's degree. That's the lowest of any branch.
That's wild, especially considering how much the military advertises education. Is it all about deployments making it tough, or is there more to the story?
It's definitely a culture thing. The Marines prioritize grit and readiness over classroom time. They're often on the move, so juggling college is like texting during a live-fire drill. Possible, but not recommended.
Now, let's compare degree stats across branches. For the Navy, the tuition assistance comes with a 3-year waiting period, the longest of all. Yet, oddly enough, more young sailors have degrees than Marines. What gives?
It's a head-scratcher, but it boils down to job structure. Sailors, even juniors, often have more predictable schedules, so 3.1% of EONI E4s have associates and 4.3% have bachelor's degrees. Senior ranks do even better, with nearly 18% holding associate's degrees.
And the Army? They let you use tuition assistance right away, supervisor permitting. Their numbers climb steadily as you move up the ranks. Over 21% of senior NCOs have bachelor's degrees.
Exactly, but the real stars are the Air Force and Space Force. Their training is accredited through the Community College of the Air Force, so education is built into the DNA. Senior Air Force NCOs? Over 36% have bachelor's and 15% have advanced degrees. Space Force blows everyone away, nearly 40% with bachelor's and almost 18% with graduate degrees at the top.
Okay, let's talk grades. Based on all those stats, where do the branches fall on the education scoreboard?
Marines, unfortunately, bring up the rear 5 out of 10. Navy gets a 7, Army an 8, Air Force a strong 9, and the Space Force tops it with a perfect 10 out of 10 for education during service.
Those CCAF credits really pay off. But it's not just about the sheepskin. How does this education translate when you're job hunting in the civilian world?
Great segue. Having that degree, especially one recognized in the civilian sector, gives you a serious leg up when you're competing with folks who never wore a uniform.
Let's talk about job alignment. Not all military roles have a counterpart in the civilian world. Infantry doesn't exactly translate to office ninja. Which branches are best at prepping you for a smooth career shift?
That's where the Air Force and Space Force shine. Most of their jobs are technical. Think cyber, avionics, satellite comms. Those skills transfer directly to high-demand sectors. Data from the Census Bureau shows ex-airmen and guardians often land in prestigious or federal gigs, earning more on average.
Meanwhile, the Army, with its wide spectrum from infantry to intelligence, creates a big spread. Entry-level Army vets can expect $22K to $46K their first year out, jumping to $55K, $70K for senior NCOs. Not too shabby, but not as consistent as the Air Force.
Exactly. And the Navy, with everything from laundry specialists to nuclear techs, also sees a wide range, but their technical specialties like nuclear engineering can net big bucks on the outside.
Let's crunch some numbers. After 5 years out, what can former enlisted folks expect to earn?
For Army EONI E5 vets, it's $29K, $61K, E6 NNC, 47K, 93K. Navy's a similar story. Junior vets, 32K, 68K, seniors, 50K, 98K. Marines, surprisingly, do well over time. 35K, 70K for juniors, 50, 2K, 100K for seniors after 5 years. Leadership skills travel.
Air Force and Space Force continue to pull ahead. E-only E5s can hit 76K, and E6 E9s approach 98K. Plus, a lot of them delay working to use the GI Bill and boost qualifications even more.
That's right. And across all services, veteran unemployment rates are lower than the national average 3% for vets versus 3.9% for civilians. That's a pretty compelling stat for anyone worried about job prospects post-military.
Let's circle back to the Marines. Despite fewer technical roles, former Marines seem to thrive after a few years. Why is that?
It's almost like there's a secret handshake. Marine leadership and tough-as-nails reputations open doors. There's data showing ex-Marines often help each other snag jobs. Call it the Devil Dog Network. Those soft skills teamwork, resilience air gold in management roles.
SkillBridge could help even more, but most Marines can't use it since their units are so lean. If that changes, their numbers might climb even higher.
Exactly. The bottom line, Marines might start slow, but 5 years out, many are earning as much or more than peers with fancier job titles. Goes to show, attitude and connections matter.
We've all seen those heartbreaking stories of homeless vets. But what does the research actually say about poverty after service?
Turns out, the trend has dropped big time since the 70s, but there's still risk, especially for Army and Marine vets, largely due to combat exposure and PTSD. The Army makes up the largest share of homeless vets, but they're also the largest branch, so the math tracks.
Air Force, Space Force, and Navy have fewer cases, likely because they lack infantry roles and see less combat. That's not to say PTSD or mental health issues don't happen, it's just statistically less common.
Exactly, and junior ranks EONI through FAVIRE most vulnerable, often due to less education, fewer transferable skills, or limited financial literacy. Senior NCOs rarely struggle with poverty or homelessness post-service.
Time for the moment of truth, the final scores. Drumroll, please. How did the branches stack up overall?
Coming in last, the Marines with 21 out of 30, Army next with 22, then the Navy at 24. The Air Force nabs second place with 28, and Space Force takes the crown at 29 out of 30. Just don't ask how many Space Force vets there actually are. It's a small club.
It's practically a science experiment at this point. But this really shows how education, technical skills, and low combat exposure can make a huge difference in life after service.
Exactly. And if you're on the fence about which branch to join, consider what you want after service note just during. These numbers don't lie.
Before we sign off, let's hit some practical tips. What's the number one thing service members overlook when prepping for civilian life?
Financial literacy, hands down. You can have medals out the wazoo, but if you don't know how to build credit or budget, civilian life will hit hard. I mean, my kid's got a 740 credit score at 18 if he can do it, so can a seasoned vet.
And let's not forget, using every educational benefit available, don't leave GI Bill money on the table. Even if you don't go for a degree, certifications can open doors in IT, logistics, and more.
Absolutely. And network. Whether you're a Marine or a Guardian, those connections are your parachute when you finally jump into civilian life. Stay beautiful, stay classy, and until next time, take care of yourselves out there.